Are we live? Oh, yep. We are live. Welcome in, guys. Are we live? So, I don't know why this subject has been like in my mind. And I think it's because it was one of these subjects where it was one of my most watched videos in Spanish, and a lot of women felt like they needed to address this subject, but however, they didn't know how, right? And maybe you're in a relationship where you see your partner kind of like liking other women or like following other women provocatively, and you've never really you've never been able to make him change this pattern that's hurting you at the end of the day, right? So, um, what do most people do? And what did my unconscious self, before I was in this perfect relationship that I am right now, what would what was she doing before that? She was actually lashing out to her previous partner, like telling her, hey, like, what are you doing this? And let me remind you that men do not understand when they're being screamed at. They do not understand whenever we are lashing out against what whatever he's doing. They do not understand whenever they are being forced into doing something. Like, for example, right now we can clearly see that this is hurting us, but in his mind, he feels like he's being complained at. So it kind of puts him in this scenario of him being a type of man. Oh my God, before I get into this, you have to come to the masterclass that I'll be hosting Tuesday, June 30th, before I forget. Um, this masterclass is going to be about rewiring, about emotions, thoughts, and actions, and how to level up. Um, anyway, I needed to just invite you because this is very important for me and for you if you want to level up and like raise your frequency. Essentially, this masterclass is free. However, I'll be offering something that I've been building and on the cooks for a while now. Back to the subject, where was I? Men do not answer or do not know how to respond whenever we're lashing out to him. So he is kind of remembering when he was a little boy and maybe the mom was making him understand something. Men do not understand like that. Okay, so what can we do and what's in our hands? And essentially, like, we have to kind of make him understand us, and instead of like lashing out and being angry and doing all of these things to make him understand you, we kind of like have to stay, like, we have to learn how to communicate effectively. And many people do not know how to do this. Why? Because we let emotions drive us. As soon as we don't like something, we're in this situation, um, our security is being threatened by this person, by this online woman, that it's they're not even having or holding a relationship, but this action that he's doing is essentially hurting you. It's essentially um, hurting your relationship. So how can you how can you effectively communicate this? How can you get out of this um, I don't want to say victim mentality, but how can we communicate effectively so then the man actually understands what we're getting at? Hi, Annabelle, welcome in. Thank you so much for joining me. Um, This is a real subject. So, how do we do that? Anybody has any questions? Any suggestions? We do not know how to communicate effectively because we're being triggered and our emotions are kind of taking over us, and instead of saying, "Hey babe, listen, like you have to state what you're feeling. This is making me feel super sad. This is making me feel threatened. This is making me feel jealous. This is making me feel envious. This is making me feel like I am not enough." Whenever you're able to actually mention to him and say, "Hey, like this is how you're making me feel," then can then you can state the situation. "I see that you're following women, different women. I see that you're liking other women. Okay, but you do it in a voice that is calm, in a voice that is inviting, in a voice that you're now his woman, you're not his mother. You're not making him do something. You're simply stating the consequences of his actions. How that's making you feel, stating the situation, and then you say like what you need. What do you need? What do you think you need for him to stop doing that? Okay, we don't want to tell him what to do because he has to take that initiative. So we have to tell him that we need security. Like you don't want to be in the situation where your security is being threatened by an online woman that he probably doesn't even know. So I was like debating before I started to do this live. I was debating whether I should like go ahead and actually do the subject because I haven't been put in this situation lately, like in my current relationship, and I didn't want to call in. Anyway, but I feel like whenever some subject of some kind is keeps showing up in one way or the other, like it's my role to transmit what I've learned. It's my kind of like calling to share how I was able to communicate this to my partner, to my ex. Yeah. And if you are in this position, like let me share with you, let me tune into that Greta who was there, who was put in this situation in the past, who's no longer there. I'm now engaged. I'm very happy with my relationship. Let me remind you that you have two choices. You have to either communicate, effectively. You have to learn to not be violent within your communication because um, many people do not know how to do this. Whenever you learn, it's beautiful because you're able to communicate calmly. You're able to not let your emotions kind of like control you. Let me remind you that you're not alone, that many people, many women go through this, that you are enough. And let me remind you that maybe if you're in this situation, then you have to look within yourself and say to yourself that you are enough. Whether you decide to stay in this situation, it is up to you. Whether you decide to work through this with your partner, it is your choice. my type of work, the type of stuff that I come online and share, like all of these videos about transformation, about evolution, about, evolving, about raising your frequency, with real life situations, comes from comes from a place of, you're not a victim, but my work is for the people who take accountability for their circumstances. So no matter what situation you're in, you take responsibility on what you're meant to learn. And I'm going to share something very vulnerable, that Greta who was once put in this situation, she didn't know her worth. She didn't know that she was meant for more. She didn't know how to communicate, effectively, with love, with calmness. She would just lash out to her ex-partner. Hello, welcome in. Thank you so much for joining me. Um, you're meant for more. However, you have to be very clear on what it is that you want. However, you have to be very clear with your intention behind every action you take. Some people might, I don't know, call me boring or some sort, but I'm so clear on what I'm meant to do that I do not waste time. Of course, I make time for travel, I make time for friends, but I'm so focused on what I'm meant to do that I don't rush if the result doesn't show up the next day. You have to be so clear that you don't see the mistakes that you've made. You have to be so clear on what it is that you want that you can see past your life right now. And essentially, that's what I'll be talking about this Tuesday, that I'm super excited, where I'll be speaking about emotions and how our emotions are controlling us and how our thoughts are in the back of our mind. Maybe you want to do something, and then at the end of the day, you don't, because your subconscious mind is telling you you're not good enough. It's telling you, oh, this is not for you, or some sort of that. So you have to kind of build this inner foundation for yourself, so then you walk and build that life that's actually yours. And if you're being called to come, I have a link on the bio where you can sign up. Sign up to the masterclass right here, and then you press on the link and you leave your email. This this masterclass is going to be on Tuesday at 7 p.m. on YouTube. Let me know if you have any questions. One more thing that I wanted to share with you was that when I was in this situation in the past, I didn't know my worth. I felt like I wasn't enough. Um, I didn't know any better. I was young, and I would constantly compare myself to those women. I had to learn not to compare myself. I had to learn that I am worthy, that I am deserving, that I also needed to learn effective communication. And maybe that's something I'll be adding on the framework, because that's so important. Yeah. So I'll be waiting for you. There are no questions. I know many women are in this situation, and many women struggle with comparing themselves on social media. And nowadays, we tend to be, not happy with what we have or what we are because we are constantly comparing ourselves to what society or what commercials, what ads show up. So essentially, what we're doing, or what the point is of the end course, is to build something that you're going to be so happy inside of you, like not only physically. That's good to be healthy. That's good to like exercise and whatnot, but it's something stronger than just confidence from everything that you've built or everything that you've been able to prove yourself, everything you've done tangible in this life. It's a type of confidence that nobody's going to take away. Like it's a type of confidence that even though I don't know, you change your career path or you lose your job, maybe there was something else better waiting for you. I always like to look at the positive side of everything, no matter what situation you are, because there's a deeper lesson to learn. There's a deeper truth that you may not be seeing right now. And um, yeah, I'll be waiting for you this Tuesday, June 30th. Super excited, at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And I cannot wait because I have been waiting and rebuilding this course. This on Tuesdays is essentially like the first three steps that you have to take, to elevate your frequency and to step up to the woman that you're always meant to be. To step up to that woman who, instead of comparing yourself to everything that everyone else has, is to look at what you've been able to have for yourself. Like not only, yes, tangible things, but like qualities within you that maybe other people do not have, that maybe you're forgetting to look at. So anyway, thank you so much for joining me, and I'll be waiting for you this Tuesday, June 30th. Okay?